What's up, B2? Capital G here, checking out a brand new Rank 5 XC monster that just got revealed in the Collector's Pack 18. It's really interesting as this is a dice-based XC monster, and yeah, that's something you don't see every day. It's really interesting. I know that a lot of people out there don't like luck-based effects. They don't like cards that involve like flipping a coin or rolling a dice because, you know, you're not guaranteed any one result and they won't touch those cards. But I do feel like these are underappreciated mechanics. If you guys don't know, these effects have been around since the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh, like the DM era. You know, a lot of Bandit Keys cards have like coin flips, and then you've got Joey and all of his like random luck-based duels, especially during the Battle City arc and during the Duelist Kingdom arc. So, you know, a lot of Joey's cards, Graceful Dice, etc., all revolve around like rolling a die and whatnot. So let's go ahead and break down number 67. Yes, this is a number monster. They are still making those for all you Zexal fans out there. Paradise Smasher. So this is a rank 5 light fairy XC monster. 2100 attack and 2100 defense. Reminds me already of Cyber Dragon. I rank 5, 2100 attack. Sounds like a Cyber Dragon, doesn't it? 2 or more level 5 monsters are the material, which I don't think is all that difficult. There are some decks that naturally rank 5. You've got like Constellars and Artifacts, and you know, obviously something like Cyber Dragons. You could just throw an instant fusion in there just to get your other level 5 monsters so that you can make this with 3. Once per turn during your main phase, you can detach 2 XC materials from this card. Each player rolls a 6-sided die twice until the end of the next turn. Monsters possessed by the player whose total result was higher cannot activate their effects or declare attacks. I believe since it says possession, I'm pretty sure that means you can't activate cards in your hand as well. So you can't activate like Honest, or if you happen to have an Ash Blossom, whatever, you couldn't activate those cards, which is pretty powerful, I'm not gonna lie. Not just stopping your opponent from being able to activate any of their monster effects, but being able to not attack. That's definitely a hindrance, although don't think that it's an auto win card, because your opponent still has the ability to go in their extra deck to summon whatever the heck they want. They just can't activate those monsters effects. They can still set cards on the field, try and stall you out, and of course they can still use all their spells and traps as they would normally. It's not quite your top Zexal where it stuns all of their cards, but you know, your top Zexal doesn't stop attacking. I think your top Zexal's stun ability is a little more powerful. The second effect actually ties right into the first effect. It says once per turn, if a player's rolls a die or dice, while this card has XC material, you can choose one die result and treat it as a 7. This is really interesting because, to my knowledge, this is like the only card in Yu-Gi-Oh that actually lets you potentially roll a 7. Well, I guess you don't roll a 7, but you treat it as a 7, which this is just a nightmare ruling and a half, man. This card just seems like it kind of breaks the dice roll or the die roll mechanic, and yeah, I feel like this is going to be kind of a ruling nightmare. Now, obviously, since you're trying to roll lower than your opponent, making one of their rolls a 7, you know, that greatly benefits you because it probably means that you're going to win that kind of whole dice roll off. Although it means that you have to keep a material on this after detaching 2 materials as a cost for the first effect. So that's why I was saying you might want to make this card with 3 materials so that you kind of can give yourself a better chance of getting that stun ability on your opponent. Now, it's really interesting, right? Because I looked up some die cards, and there are some die cards where treating the result as a 7 really doesn't have, like, it doesn't change the card at all. Graceful Dice, that's a card where you just end up giving one of your monsters, or giving your monsters like 700 attack. Snipe Hunter would be another one where Snipe Hunter says if you don't roll a 7, or excuse me, if you don't roll a 1 or a 6, you get to blow your opponent's monster up. There are some weird things like Dice Jar, right? Dice Jar is a card where the person who rolls lower ends up taking damage to their opponent's roll times, 500. But if their opponent rolls a 6, it's 6,000 burn damage, and if both players get 6s, you re-roll. So if you ended up getting a 7 and your opponent got a 6, even though the 3,500 damage is less than the 6,000, your opponent still takes the 3,500 damage, and you don't end up taking anything because the result is based on whoever rolls lower takes the damage. So that's really interesting. There are some cards like Dice Foon that I don't believe you can actually even use this effect in conjunction with, because Dice Foon says you have to roll, or like you have to roll a 1 through 6. There is no effect for 7, so I don't think Dice Foon will fizzle. I don't even think you should be able to use this effect with Dice Foon, but there are ones like Dark Master Zorik where Zork is a card where you actually should be able to apply it as a 7, even though Zork doesn't have 7 written on its effect. Zork says 1 through 6, blow up monsters according to that. If the result is a 7, then Zork basically just shouldn't blow up anything. So it's going to be kind of a ruling nightmare using this card, but honestly, I think that a lot of people online are right. I think this is just a troll card. I mean, this card, it's not going to see any competitive play whatsoever, unless Konami's going to bring out a brand new theme that revolves around dice rolling and has incredibly powerful effects. I don't think that this card will be anything more than the casual, for casual anime fans and whatnot. So whatever you guys think of number 67, Paradise Smasher, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.